welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm very excited that you are here because as you can see, I'm in a bit of a different place. I am in my kitchen, which you need to know, I'm not a domestic goddess by any means, but it doesn't matter because today we are going to be baking sustainability into your business while also baking chocolate chip cookies. Consider when you're baking sustainability into your business is the personal relationships that you have. Take from me, I learned the hard way that not making time for or appreciating the personal relationships outside of work makes a huge difference on how you can act in your business. And so that's the one thing that I encourage all entrepreneurs or any sort of business person to have is make sure you're prioritizing personal relationships. It is necessary. What I realized was that I had started saying no to everything. I was being asked to go to coffee with friends. I was asked to go to family dinners, but I didn't feel like I could stop working. And so for about 2 years, aside from my clients, aside from my colleagues, I never saw anybody outside of my work. That created this really deepened sense of loneliness within me. And I mean, it's been proven over and over. We heard of all the statistics during COVID and all that good stuff. But loneliness plays a huge role in entrepreneurial depression. And so that is why I put family at the top as one of the first things we want to focus on baking into our business, making time for personal relationships outside of our business relationships. Okay? Very, very important. Okay. So the next thing we want to consider when it comes to baking sustainability into your business is one of the things I wish I would have known within the first 2 years of doing business. Now, I get it. We're all creatives and we love to do the fun stuff. Don't get me wrong. I get it. But listen, you need to do a cost of doing business. If you don't do a cost of doing business, you're going to find yourself in a space of not making enough money and then running on scarcity mode. Now, I'm making one hell of a mess here. This is basically what the 2 years without doing a cost of doing business is like, making a mess. Anywho, and so we want to make sure, and there's 1,000 programs out there. You can literally just Google cost of doing business. I do have a course in my Teachable site on getting your mindset around money checked and all that good stuff. But ultimately, it's just a spreadsheet that helps you take care of figuring out what are your overhead costs to actually being able to do the job that you want to do. Now, this is really important because you have a specific standard of living that you love, right? You love maybe being able to travel. You have a house that you have to pay for. There's all these things that you need basically to make a certain amount of money for. And if you don't know what that is, you're going to find yourself always running into debt, feeling like I don't have enough money. Even though money might be coming in, it won't be enough to cover your base expenses, which then fuels the story that I'm not good enough or I'm not good with money or whatever your story is. My story is I'm not good with money. That has always been my story, but now we are changing that. Okay, but honestly, I can't stress the cost of doing business. It literally changed my life. It's the thing that allowed me to go from making $2,000 a year, profiting, let's be clear, profiting $2,000 a year to profiting $30,000 a year. Literally 1 year gap made that difference, because I realized that I essentially was paying people to let me photograph them. That's not how you run a business. That's how you run a charity. And if you want to run a charity, that's fine. But my assumption is you want to run a business and you want to make money and you want to live the life of your dreams. So the only way we could do both those things at the same time is by doing a cost of doing business and understanding what our expenses are. So the next thing we want to think about is self-awareness. What does that mean? Okay, so when it comes to self-awareness, I do want to spend some time on this. Self-awareness is one of those things that's really hard because nobody teaches us how to listen to our inner voice. Now, some of us are, from the time I was little, I was being bullied, so I journaled a lot when I was a kid. I think that helped me hear my inner voice from the time I was really young. Not saying that you need to get bullied to feel that, but I feel if you were somebody that wrote a lot as a kid, maybe you did art, maybe you channeled your emotions and thoughts into doing things, then you would have a better understanding of your self-awareness. If you don't, because you didn't have the life that allowed it, which is totally fine, you can do it now. And there are just a few simple ways to build your self-awareness. So number one is just taking time, and this is the hard part if you're a creative, sitting still and literally just saying, how do I feel right now? That's it. Pay attention to what your body's feeling, pay attention to what thoughts are coming up, and just listen. One of my favorite activities to do with people to teach them self-awareness, and you can do this, is right now while you're watching this video, I want you to, don't say this out loud, but I want you in your head to say hello. You hear it? Okay, now I want you to yell in your mind, hello, but in your head. Okay, now whisper, hello. Can you hear it? That's your inner voice. So it is in there. You just have to start paying attention to it. And there's a few different ways that we can pay attention to it. Number one is listening to our body. Most of us feel primal fear, like, oh my God, I'm going to be ousted from the tribe, or I'm going to die physically. Here, feel it in the solar plexus. Your intuition, your, what I call your true calling self, usually is down here in the gut. You've heard people say that, listen to my gut. That's your intuition talking, usually for most people, is down here. So between here and here, this is more societal pressured fear, like, oh, I can't do that, I'm afraid, I'm nervous, I'm excited, da-da-da-da-da. Here is, do the thing, don't do the thing, stay, get out. That's this. So just start paying attention to different scenarios and bring yourself into the present to just sit with it and say, like, how do I feel right now? You can use a scale of 1 to 10. How do I feel on a scale of 1 to 10 right now? And so on, and that might help as well. Okay, so those are the 3 that we're starting with. And we're almost done mixing here. All right, next we're gonna add our eggs. I had them. All right, so the eggs are gonna represent what? Our eggs are going to represent quarterly meetings. This is really fun and something you can start implementing in your business or just with yourself. And again, sometimes it can be hard because you have to take time away from the business and you have to take time away from the family. But I want to encourage you to take time once a quarter to check in with yourself. Check in with your goals. You set goals, I assume, at the beginning of the year. Check in with yourself and say, like, okay, am I still on the path I want to be on? And you can use so many different questions to ask yourself to check in. Number one, where am I financially in regards to my quantifiable metrics? How many clients am I at? How many more do I need? You know, paying attention to that kind of stuff. And then in that quarterly meeting, you'll also check how much time have I been spending looking at other people's businesses. How much time have I been spending on the things that I want to be a priority? And it's not in a way that's to shame yourself. It's in a way to bring attention to the things you want to be your priority without letting it go a whole year before recognizing like, oh, I said I would spend more time and I didn't do it. This way, every quarter you can look back, just like if you have to do your taxes quarterly, I do, because it keeps me on track. You're able to look and say like, okay, I recognize where we did really well. Here are some areas I need to make improvements. Maybe you didn't make enough time for personal relationships. How can you make that a priority going into the next quarter? Because again, at the end of the day, if you want this to be a business, you have to treat it like a business. That was one of the biggest learning lessons I had to take away. And it helps to have these meetings to just, again, here's the thing, if it brings up shame that you haven't done these things or achieved certain things by the quarter, or you feel bad about yourself, that's information. That's telling you there's still some unresolved. This goes back to self-awareness. If you feel shame about not achieving a monetary goal, why? Ask yourself, what am I making that monetary goal mean? What am I making it mean if I don't get enough followers? What am I so afraid of if I wasn't to get this amount of people? And then you can also take a look and see like which goals are intrinsically motivated, ones that you truly want and are authentic to you and your business, or are ones you think you should want and are striving for. So doing this quarterly just brings it all to the forefront a few times a year instead of doing it all at the end of the year, which is why I feel a lot of people feel a lot of stress at the end of the year because they're like, oh shit, it got away from me. Okay? So that's the aims and the quarterly meetings. And then I understand salt is just a pinch. Okay, so making up for these 4 things that we just put in, because I'm going to be stirring a lot here in the next little bit. Have to do the fancy. Is the other things we want to bake in to make our business sustainable are hobbies. How many of you have made your business out of your hobby, your previous hobby? I know I did. And if you have any sort of neurodivergent tendencies, chances are you try to figure out a way to, this is something I just learned, you may try to entrepreneurialize anything that you want to learn how to do. That's how my brain works. Anytime I take up a new hobby, I'm like, oh, I can become really good at this and make money. Which never works because most hobbies I can't stick with. So I've had to teach myself that I don't have to be good at hobbies. Hobbies are literally there just for me to express myself, to have fun, and do something different that, like baking, than I would normally do in my day. Normally, I record my videos at my desk, not making a mess. Well, I make a different kind of mess. Right? So that's that one. We want to make sure that we are, oh, it smells so good, that vanilla. We want to make sure that we are doing ourselves a service and giving ourselves time to play. Play has been proven time and time again to improve our self-esteem, to improve our moods, our immune system, and so on. So I want to make sure that you are making time for a hobby, even if it's just once a week that you go axe throwing with a friend. And here's the thing, you can combine the things, right? We talked about the importance of family and friends. Maybe you go to a dance class where you go with your friends. Maybe you go to an art class where you make new friends, right? So you can combine some of these. Which brings me to the next thing you want to bake into your sustainability, or bake into your business for sustainability, is going to be building a schedule that has boundaries. This is one of the things that I didn't do at the beginning because I'm a people pleaser. I didn't want to say no to people. I wanted to, well, you tell me when you want to come in. And it ended up being that I would cram my whole week full because I had a really hard time saying no. So you want to make sure that you are creating a schedule that is conducive to you and your family. So if you have a family, talk to them and say, like, what do I need to be available for? When do I need to be accessible? When can I work? When do you want to work? What time of day are you at your best? I know so many people, we get out of doing the 9-to-5 job. We're like, yes, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm free. And then we throw ourselves right back into the 9-to-5, even though that's not conducive to our energy or our schedules. And so I want to encourage you to really take a look at your optimal time for certain things. Look at when is optimal for you to talk to people, because not everyone's a people person first thing in the morning. Look at what is an optimal time for you to do physical work, creative work, focus work, etc., and then arrange your day accordingly. And if you're like, well, nobody's going to come in and do a photo shoot at midnight, well, no, not that. But you still want to figure out, okay, is there a way I can scooch it later in the day, or maybe just do it on the weekends, or whatever the thing is for you. Okay? Now this is a bit gooey. I don't know. Well, whatever, we're going with it. All right, next we get to add the chocolate chips. It's probably my favorite part because I have multiple chips, but I will just use these ones. Now it says 4 cups of chocolate chips. I don't even know if I have 4 cups of chocolate chips. Where did I put my cup? Here we go. Favorite part. My sister's probably gonna watch this and be like, what the heck? Terry, it's fine. 1. Oh. Yeah, I should have bought the big bag. That's the thing. 2. You know what? Fuck it. 3, 4. And so the other chips that I got are mint chips. So let's put some of those in. It'll be a little surprise. Okay, so here are a few other things while I'm mixing this stuff up. Is we want to have nature. Making sure you make time to go outside is imperative. I cannot stress that enough. This was one of the biggest game changers for me in the sustainability of my mental health and my business. And I live in Winnipeg, where it's fucking cold right now, but I still make a point to go outside. I don't set a time limit on it. I just say get outside. Even if it's for 2 minutes to go to the mailbox, or it's to go around the block, or just sit out on my step. It's so nice just to be out in nature, and it helps ground your body, and it helps ground your mind, and it gets you away. And don't take your phone. That is really, really important. Just go with you. Just take yourself on a little walk. Again, we take our pets on walks. Why are we any different? Which brings me to the next thing, movement. Okay, I have to say that for a very long time, I did not incorporate movement aside from my photo shoots into my life. Now, most of us have been scorned by diet culture in some way. It steals the fitness world from us because it encourages us to go only if the goal is to lose weight. But here's what I've learned for myself. Number 1, I can't set a time limit or treat it like I used to. I can't treat movement like I have to, let's see, I can't, how would I put this? Basically, I can't tell myself like that it has to be quantifiable. The more important for me is the consistency. So showing up daily to move my body and saying like, I'm choosing to move my body today, that's what has made more of a difference than me saying like, I'm gonna go to the gym for 45 minutes and lift weights and, you know, work this specific routine. Again, this is just me. This may not be you. That's totally fine. But I found for me, I just had to get back to a place where I was consistent with just saying like, I'm choosing to move my body because I know it's so good for my fucking brain. And I sit at a desk for a lot of time. So get out in nature, move your body, whether it's inside or outside. I do recommend combining the two again. I'm a serious maximizer, you know, you can do more than one thing at a time. It helps with the time thing. And make sure you get it done. It's so important. Okay, so just to recap everything we talked about as I dollop these onto the pans. All right, let me get a spoon. Okay, so the first thing we talked about is spending time with family. This is the most underrated. These are going to be big fucking cookies. Okay, that's fine. That is the most underrated, I would say, thing that people don't talk about when it comes to building a business. Nobody teaches you the importance of keeping your familial relations intact during the process of building a business. Now, I'm not going to say it's like having a baby, because that's mean to people that have had babies. I think these are going to be, this is going to be a big boy cookies. But it's so important because nobody teaches us. So I'm teaching you now. Make sure you're figuring out, how can I make sure to see somebody that's not a colleague or a client once a week? That's it. That's all it takes. And actually be present with the person. Again, involve it with the other stuff we talked about. Playing, nature, movement, whatever it is. And then you can maximize all those things at the same time. Next is self-awareness. And this goes hand in hand with self-development, okay? So self-awareness can be learned if you don't have an inkling of it. Start by just sitting down. Now this is the part that I have a hard time with, because I can't do this for you. You have to say, okay, I'm worth sitting down with and just dumping out all the thoughts that are in my head onto a piece of paper. Or I'm choosing to sit here so I can start to learn to listen to my thoughts. And if you are like, oh, I can't do that, I can't sit and listen to my thoughts, that is your first step for self-awareness, is to say, what am I afraid of if I was to sit and listen to my thoughts? Okay? So take that and do with it what you will. All right? Okay, so that's self-development and self-awareness. Another thing is, listen, like, I didn't mention this, but pay attention to the content you're also taking in. Are you listening to people that are like informing you that you can do it and helping you build a different soundtrack? Or are you listening to people and in groups and things like that where people are like, oh, poor me, life is hard, da 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 da. Because if you're there, you're not going to be able to survive. You need to surround yourself with positivity, even if that means, you know, you're coming from a toxic household where people tell you terrible things about yourself. You just plug in some earphones or just get outside, go to the library, and start taking in some stuff that helps you be the person you want to be. Okay? Next is cost of doing business. Again, I cannot stress this. Is it fun to fill out spreadsheets as a creative person? Hell no! In fact, I dislike it so much that I put it off for 2 years and ended up making $0. And then I realized that's not sustainable if I want this to be an actual business. Now, if you're like, oh God, I can't charge X amount that your cost of doing business says, that's a good self-awareness moment to say, okay, why do I not think that? Do I not think I am enough, or that the value of this is enough? And then you get to do work around that. Get excited. But here's the thing, if you don't do this, somebody asked me the other day, what are 2 things you would tell somebody before starting a business? go to therapy or get a coach and do your cost of doing business. Because you need to figure out where are your weaknesses, where are your strengths, where are you going to get your own way. Because at the end of the day, business has no feelings. Okay, this is important. Business has no feelings. It literally is a strategic game that requires you to just show up and tweak things until it works. That's it. That's how business works. There's nothing personal in it, but we, especially creatives, empaths, we're very good at making our business our identity, okay? And that's not sustainable. So I want to encourage you to get very clear on your numbers, your logical stuff, and then also work through your mindset stuff. And if you need help with that, of course, I'll link everything that I can help you with in the description. But ultimately, it's going to be up to you to decide that you're worth it. I can't do that part for you, unfortunately. Okay, and then the other things we talked about, quarterly meetings with yourself or your team, if you have a team, just to say, like, are we going in the direction that we want to be going in? What do we want to take forward from the last quarter, and what do we want to leave behind in the last quarter? What can we do differently moving forward? What do we want to do the same moving forward? And really just taking like the pulse of your business and your personal life to see like, oh, I'm getting ahead of myself, or, you know, I'm spending too much time over here in an area that I don't like. No wonder I'm burnt out, and so on. Okay, this is going to be interesting. There's a lot of chocolate in here. It's fine. Now we're going to pop these into the oven. And we have some leftovers, so I have to make a third sheet. That's fine. Okay, we're going to pop these into the oven for 11 minutes. See how good baking sustainability into your business can be? Yummy!